ETM Hotel, Rennie Sean. Welcome in peace. My name is Sean. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to this impromptu build today. We want to revisit that old presentation that I actually did dealing with defining the Ra Nu Peret Imheru. I got brother Kofi Paisai TV on the show today. Yeah, as you can see, he not in the well. He should be at work. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, hey, Kofi, you skipping out?
Nah, I'm going, man, in about an hour, man. I'm just chilling right now.
Oh, okay, so Kofi chilling, you know what I mean? I got him about 35, 30 minutes before he got to make that 15, really. 15 minutes before he slide out, you know what I'm saying? He been feeling some type of way since I be doing these shows and he ain't involved, y'all. So, you know what I'm saying? You got brother Kofi in the building. You got anything you want to say, man, before we begin?
Nah, man, just a lot for y'all to the family, man. Y'all please like and share the show. As we say all the time, man. Please tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend about the show. And take out your pens and pads. Take out your pens and pads so you won't have to continue at every show to ask the same questions over and over and over because we kind of go over some of the same information or kind of hit on some of the same topics or subject matter. So take out your pens and pads, man. That's all I got, man.
All right, appreciate that, brother. So before I actually get started, man, I do want to say shout out to the session. I mean, we was on the Dagger Squad earlier today, June, myself, and Sinet Emiket. The discussion was regarding or centered around the metal niche. And, a lot of people had a lot to say about the metal niche. They were asking questions like, how's your translation right? What if your translation the same as such and such? And um, at some point, you got to adhere to authority on something and whose authority is in charge with that. There was a lot of gum bumping, actually, when it comes to that. And if you know me, for those of the people that actually tune into the Mossi Warrior Clan show and has watched any presentation that I've actually presented or any information that I've actually presented as a student, then you know that I, for one, am very passionate about um, the things that I study because a lot of hours of sacrifice and time has gone into trying to understand the meta nature and just studying in general in order to put presentations together and bring forth this information and share this information with people so that we could all learn. And we can show you that, hey, if I could do it, you could do it, type of a thing. However, um, the Sinet, she had posed some questions regarding appealing to authority and whose translation is right, so on and so forth. Why do you think that you got it, or just typically trying to say that basically the way you convey the information is one similar to that of with the ego. I never present any information or say anything with my ego. In order to stroke my ego, you would need to be my woman. That is the only way that I'm going to use my ego in any shape, form, or fashion. When it comes to the information, I am 1000% serious about the information. So I take certain subjects very seriously. The subjects I do not take seriously, you do not see me um, saying a whole lot about things, only what I know. And I think that's the motto that a lot of us who are studied and continue to study it and be students take. Kofi will tell you that too.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I am also a member of the SSU as well. What my thing is, why was Meta Nature discussed on Dagger Squad, and even with those that may ask the questions about the translation or transliteration? I mean, if you can, if I wouldn't answer anything if they can't walk through the methodology. A lot of these people don't know what the methodology on how we come up with the transliteration and translation.
Now hold on, brother Kofi, because you're gonna be considered arrogant and cocky too. Now let me tell you what happened. The discussion was regarding Jabari and Garfield's conversation about the origins of Christianity and the influence that these things, where this influence comes from, or whatever the origins of it come from. And Jabari is of the argument that Christianity is an African system. He is of the belief that that they stole it from Kemet. And they went to the walls and all the other things. These are the things that has been said. However, the Metanetia comes up because hold on, Coach. Me, True Storian, and Garfield are on a platform, and True Storian was asking questions regarding the debate topic and want to know more information. Just really kind of researching because the topic hasn't been, narrowed down, and what will be discussed in it has not been presented to the listening audience. So I said at some point the metal nature becomes a factor in this whole conversation, and it's up to Jabari to show and prove, which means demonstration beats conversation. Now, he played a video where Jabari said recently when he was in an interview with Sarnetta that he actually reads the metal nature. And he said nobody reads an entire text because it takes an entire year to translate a text. This is what he said. So I'm like, when did it take a year to translate a text?
So this is what
you choppy too.
Saying it takes a whole year to translate.
Yes. I heard your back end, but originally it was choppy.
Oh, you said that Jabari said it takes a year to translate a text.
Correct. So in the video that he played, he said, I know Garfield's going to ask me if I can read the Metal Nature and this, that, and the third. I actually can read the Metal Nature. I just said my wife is much better at it than me.
Also, he's saying that he can demonstrate the methodology and transliterate and translate a text, a glyph.
He didn't say that specifically. He said that he could read the Metal Nature. And I said to Danny that I said horse crap. Pretty much. I'm just summing it up, horse crap, because I said at some point he's going to have to demonstrate that. And then Danny was like, well, he did say his wife deals with the metal nature, so he would have to appeal to authority on that end. And I said, it's his wife. He can deal with that. I said, either way, they are going to have to demonstrate this, and they're going to have to do it in front of an audience that is either some people know how to transliterate and translate the text, and others are just going to be onlookers. So they were like, how are we going to know the truth if their translation and stuff like this was wrong? So this is where it gets cloudy in the chat, because they're asking these questions and not understanding the topic. So it's like, in short, it's like, I'm trying to tell you the actual steps and methodology, but I know that you're not serious in learning the metal nature. So look, we wrote a whole book about the subject. Get our book. Or we have a whole YouTube channel. Go over there on our channel, and we're going to show you how we do these things. Nah. I need you to tell me why your translation going to be right and hers ain't going to be right. And so simply put, and I want to say this for anyone listening, when you're transliterating, if your transliteration is identical to our transliteration, and I'm saying ours, which means multiple people, then we can work on the translation together. The vocal point then becomes, are you transliterating the text correctly? And if you're transliterating the text correctly, then the translation would be the only thing that will be at odds, because you may interpret the transliteration different, because you may settle for a word that is out of context and put that word, infuse that word in there, and you got a choppy translation. Whereas people who are studying the grammar, the actual culture, and the traditions of Kemet are going to have a different translation than yours. So the way that I was trying to explain it to the people may have seemed off, because I know the temperament of some people that just not willing to learn. So it's like I'm really talking to a brick wall, and really you talking slick in the chat because I can see it, but you want me to explain it to you in a way that you can understand it like I'm finna teach you something. Well, this is not the platform. Well, that was not the platform for the teaching moments, because we're going to slow it all the way down and walk you through the steps. We're actually going to demonstrate it in a controlled environment where you actually can learn, not keep asking questions. Because first I need to make sure that when we're going over these steps that you're comprehending what is being said. But if you're still asking me questions on top of me trying to explain something to you, then I know that you're not listening to me. So,
You know what's sad, man?
What's sad, Coach?
Seshu Metanet. The Seshu group been up since 2003. We got stuff on YouTube since 2015. It's 2000 and I'm say early 2016. It's 2020. We have plethora of information where you, like just what you said, we slow it down, we walk you through, we show you the correct methodology on how to transliterate and how to translate. The transliteration is always going to be the same. The translation may be a little bit different, as you just explained with the wording and so forth. As long as it's in the same context when we talking about the translation. But it's funny, like you just mentioned control environment. It's funny now. They would know the group if we were some of these same platforms that deal with a lot of this craziness and foolishness, man. It's just sad that we've been around this long and we still talking about a lot of these steps, still talking about transliteration, translations, and etc. Man, it's just sad to me, man.
But my whole thing is, and I feel you 1000%, and you know I'm with you on that, is that the sister called in, and then she was saying the same thing that she was saying. And she was saying at some point, everybody appeals to authority. My whole point is, people are not the authority here that we're asking about. All I wanted to say before, the brothers was cutting me off and wouldn't let me get it out, that's why I grew frustrated, was that Kemet, the Remet, are the authority on the subject. So how about we just pay attention to them and study the traditions and the culture, and then we can come up with the correct translation? Because we all know that we're all going to, the way that we are trained by our Saber, we are all trained that we're going to come up with the same transliteration to a T. If we're off, then we may be off a little bit, and then we correct that, or we better have 90 plus % of that transliteration correct for under Saber Wujawu's guidelines. Is that not correct?
Yeah, true. Fact.
So we better have, and I'm saying this to y'all, we better have 90 plus % of that text transliterated correctly. And then we go through basically scrutinizing peer review by our own peers if we're doing a text. And trust me, they get in there and get to cutting you up. You drop something in there, transliteration and a translation, they cutting you up. Before it comes out to the public, cutting you up with Ginsu knives. So basically, she then said that, well, who makes Ujawu the authority on the subject? He had to learn from somebody else. And then I'm like, yeah, well, he learned from Dr. Riketi Amin, one of the people that we hold in high regard. You know what I mean? And he takes it a step further because his willingness to demonstrate and show people the way. But then they're like, at some point, you're still appealing to authority. And I'm saying, if you know how, I specifically said this, I said it's just like mathematics. You can't solve for X if you don't know the formula. If you know the formula, you can solve for X. And with the metal nature, with the sesh, it's the same thing. You have your steps. We demonstrate those steps, and we should be able to solve for X.
Correct. That's a good example. That is a good example. That's a good example.
So what I'm saying to anyone that's listening to me is that the sister and Jabari and his wife, since he said he relied on her, would be able to solve for X and would be able to do that in real time. And if he's able to do that in real time, then we can narrow down where the differences are and see if we can find his position in this argument to be true based on the primary evidence. Because at that point, we don't need to read Budge's translation. We don't need to read Faulkner translation. We don't need to read Allen's translation. We don't need to read anyone else. We can completely remove everybody else because we know what to do.
And that's the misconception that a lot of people are having. They think that we are doing what the old scholars are doing, and that's relying off those old Egyptologists' transliterations. And we have went through and scrutinized their translations. I mean, their translations. So, and just like you made the point about we keep talking about methodology. We're talking about, so you made an example about mathematics, right? We don't. And I'm still kind of confused the way this woman keeps saying appealing to authority. That's why I said you made that great example. We're not going, if she under the exception that we're going to say Wujawa and we getting his translation and then we running with his translation. He taught us the methodology. He taught us the steps. So we don't need our savior if we trying to transliterate and translate a gift. Transliterate and translate a glyph, because he taught us the methodology. He taught us the steps. He taught us from A to Z, so we know how to go through and translate the glyphs on our own. We don't need Saber, or we're not getting Saber a translation if we want to transliterate and translate a glyph, or we're not going to these old Egyptologists and using their information from their translation, which a lot of it is not accurate at all.
All right. So, and you're absolutely correct, which goes back to the point that I think Asiatic Black Man and Brother Courtney, the Hebrew Brother Courtney, are in the chat saying you still appeal to authority. So let me kind of demonstrate real quick before I even get into my bill, because it's a little off track, and then we're gonna get back into it because we really dealing with Madam Natch anyway. We're dealing with Ronnie Kimmett. So let me just give you guys a brief explanation or an example of what appealing to authority is. Okay. I can really use Jabari in the video that was played, because Jabari simply said that I'm going to use all my elders and all my ancestors that came before me, their works. Garfield is going to have to fight against the Dr. Benz, the Dr. Clarks, the Moata Ashbys, the X, Y, and Z's, the Finches of the world. He named all these different people that people hold in high regard. That's appealing to authority. So it says, the description, insisting that a claim is true simply because a valid authority or expert on the issue said it was true without any other supporting evidence offered. That would be appealing to authority. Now, if I go in and I know the method to solve for X, I then can verify if that authority is correct or not. If the authority is not helping me solve X and X is not solved and I solve X, then I just updated the authority's information because the authority was incorrect on the said subject. So again, people need to understand what appealing to authority is. Jabari simply said that he is going to use, that Garfield is up against Dr. Ben, Sheikh Antijot, Dr. Clark, all the great ancestors that have transitioned, Dr. Raketi Amin, all these other folk, Infudiji, Baba Heru, all these people that he says is in his corner. He says he has to debunk all of them. And he gonna say that all of them are pseudo. This is what Jabari said. That's appealing to authority because he can't demonstrate how to solve for X. So at that point, he is limited to relying on someone else's ability to solve for X and not his own. That's appealing to authority. Now, if I go behind Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, all the other people that he named or didn't name or mention, and I solve for X, I have vetted that X has been solved and to be true based on me demonstrating. I adhered to authority, but I did not appeal to authority. I heard you. I adhered. Now let me see if I can solve for X. I know the same exact steps you know how you solve for X. Let me do it because demonstration beats conversation. So when you say you're still appealing to authority, there's only one authority on Kemet, and that is the Remech themselves. Because they wrote, the scribes wrote. They wrote. And they put it in your face. So we go to them, and then we see what they are saying because we know how to solve for X. The code's cracked. It wasn't one person, it was multiple people. That's why people need to get our book. Has the metal nature been deciphered? A rebuttal to Walter Williams. Get our book. We go through the whole process on showing people how that was done, and it's in that book. And we even give you some tools. And again, Chavis, correct. Context is the authority. Context is because if you take Kemet out of context, you're going to get in trouble. So also, knowing that you have that context helps us a whole lot. Peace, San Jehudi. Kofi on here. Yep. Me and Kofi at the moment. Yeah, man, I done went rogue. June said I done went rogue. Look, June even got hostile today because I'm biased. Gonna mute him out. knowing that ain't even in June character, yo. It's my job to tell people to get off, get off the nizzards. June quiet. He don't even say nothing in there. He'll be in there for 2 hours and not even say hello to nobody. He just be tuned in. He might be working to anything. His hands tied up. Just so happened that his hands wasn't tied up today. And he was commenting. But the whole point of it is that for years we've been putting in this work and people act like we don't even exist. That's tiresome. How is it that Garfield has the channel and we done been on Garfield's show? Our Saber has been on Garfield's show. I'm always on Garfield's show. We always talking about when it comes to the Metal Nature, you hear Garfield mention Asar and Jetty, Wujawu, the Seshu. Ankh mentions the Seshu every time he comes on there. Every time that is mentioned, that's what's being said. And people in the chat act like they don't know. Hold on, I'm trying to see what the brother Mlud the God says. Says Jabari said that because many of his elders agree that Christianity has influence from Kemet. Many of Jabari's elders actually think that Christianity is birthed from Kemet, and that would be historically inaccurate. And then you would have to hone in on cultural context. Then that means that we can go in and we can find what we're looking for. We just can't do the lookership and say, look, the first signs of baptism or christening on the walls in Kemet. You know what I'm saying? Oh, let me see what else. All right, so Courtney says, who's the authority for correct interpretation? You may have missed it earlier, Courtney, but basically when it comes to the Metal Nature, when you deal with the transliteration, our transliteration should be as accurate as possible. We shouldn't be way off. We should be intact together. Our translation and your translation, transliteration, your transliteration and any one of our transliterations should look identical to one another. If you're off every line of your transliteration, that means you've done something incorrect. And you could have mistransliterated a word. You may have looked up a short part of the word when this whole section or portion of the sesh was one word and you blocked it off into two. You made two words out of a one word text.
Yeah, or didn't do don't understand honorific transposition and put it in the wrong place, so you don't understand the Rebus principle. You see what I'm saying? So we keep talking about methodology. We keep talking about steps.
So, these are things with studying that makes it do what it do, man. And I'm actually not upset with the questions that was asked because of the character of the person that asked the questions. And when Wujawu did come in the chat, I felt like, people didn't want to bring that up again. So people were just basically trolling in the chat. But I was a little bit more aggravated that Garfield and Truth kept just cutting in, and I was trying to make it clear so that it wouldn't be any confusion, so that there wouldn't be no additional questioning, or I wouldn't be, whatever, I don't like you, you sound like you got an ego, all of that stuff, because I don't do this for no ego. I don't do anything that I do or say anything that I say to try to one up anybody or think that I'm better than anyone in the chat and so on and so forth. I don't put all the hours of researching and studying in for that. That does nothing for me.
That's why certain subject matter shouldn't be discussed on certain platforms. Some people should stay in their lane. And I mean, when you on that, okay, when you on there, you know that they weren't gonna get no clarity. I mean, that channel is not a language based a channel. It's not a meta nature channel. So again, I don't understand why was meta nature discussed on that.
Well, Danny was asking questions. Garfield was like, y'all looking too much into it. It's not that serious, not that deep. It's not going to go in that direction, and so on and so forth. But Garfield was stern with the fact that at some point he's going to have to demonstrate that he can read the sesh. But Danny was asking questions as he always does. So he asking questions basically to try to help the slow folk out. I shouldn't say slow folk, but the people that are not studied on the subject, but they're not going to get all the answers right there in that conversation, which is true too, which means then they need to tune into the people that are actually dealing with the meta nature to understand that these things are actually taking place. So, why don't brothers study comedic science anymore? No disrespect. What is comedic science? Science is science. But what is comedic science?
It's no such thing as comedic science, man.
We keep hearing people in the community talk about comedic science, comedic science, comedic science. What is? Nobody has showed us or demonstrated what comedic science is. All right, let me help everybody out with something too, because I can go into the Paret Emheru right now, right? Because that's what this conversation is about, defining the Paret Emheru. And I can read something from E.A. Wallace Budge. Now, Budge is not an African. He's not culturally or traditionally tied to anything going on in Kemet. He was just a guy in his heyday that collected a lot of stuff out of ancient Kemet. And when the code was cracked, and he took advantage of basically the process that led to the cracking of the code, but he also housed, I'm going to say he stole. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say that they ran off with a lot of artifacts. A lot of artifacts. Now, you had other people who organized those facts, which you'll hear Saber Wujawu for the rest of 2020 say that we're organizing the facts. So you had other people who helped organize the facts, which led to databases being created so that people had the tools to be able to go in there and transliterate and translate text that was written on there. But because he's not African, he was a Christian. He was a European from a whole nother place that came in there, was interested in these people and what was being said and all of those things. He took the initiative to learn how to do some things. But was he writing exact in all of his translations of text? No, because he infused some of his beliefs and things. He was looking for justification for his beliefs in some texts, in some of the underworld texts. Yeah, collected or stole. Jehu the crazy. I'm gonna stick with that. I'm gonna say they stole, bro. For real. Cause the British, people asking for that stuff back. So, my whole thing is that we have the tools to really get into it, but are we serious? And then at that point, Senet Imiket reinforced the things that I said. Sinjun reinforced the things that I said. We got a chance to mention our book, mention our channel, mention the work that we've been doing. But the people that are in those chat rooms that are easily distracted and like confrontation, I can't take them serious like people want me to, because I feel like they're disingenuous in their approach. So the questions that they ask, are you here to learn? So, Brother Asiatic, you spelled Medu Necher wrong. Metu Necher is Ra Nefer. Ra Nefer doesn't teach Medu Necher. Medu Necher is totally different from Ra'u Nefer's Metu Necher. There's no Medu Necher in any of Ra'u Nefer's information. All right, so man, we got some people watching today. Appreciate everybody that's tuned in. I'm glad that some people could be here. I know other people are not going to be here, and let's just make this the best experience that we do. We try to control the environment and give it to where people actually can learn. So we're going to define what the Ranu Peret Imheru is. We're going to do a brief walkthrough. I'll source you up at the end of this presentation. This was something that I did before, I think, on Facebook, but it never really made it to a YouTube video to be cataloged. And, people really don't watch the videos anyway. They either listening. So maybe this visual will give you some context that we all can learn from. And then, maybe we'll get like a little slight bill. I know Kofi's probably going to be ducking out a little later. I don't know if he wanted to share the link to the issue or anybody else.
Yeah, I can do that. I'm here for about another 20 minutes.
Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and just demonstrate a little bit, and then we can build after that. So let's deal with that. It's only a few, like 20 slides. It's not a lot going on here. And let's get it in. So defining the book of coming forth by day and by night by yours truly, the Ranu Peret Meru, is what's on the scales.
ETM heads up. Welcome in peace to merunecha.com. Ren-E Tonica. My name is Tonica. Today, I'm going to recite the offering formula, and you're welcome to recite it along with me. Hotep Tinesu, Wasir Neb Jadu, Necha'a Neb Abju, DF Bered Kheru, T and Ket Ka Apet Ches Menkret. Khet nebet neferet wabet ankhet nechim. In kani imahu aku mahiru. An offering which the king gives Osiris, Lord of Jadu, great God, Lord of Abydos, so that he may give verbal offerings in bread, beer, ox, fowl, alabaster, linen, everything good and pure on which a god lives, but a car of the revered one, the ancestors, justified.
The Egyptian Book of the Dead is unquestionably one of the most influential books in all of history, embodying a ritual to be performed for the dead, with detailed instructions for the behavior of the disembodied spirit in the land of the Neteru, or gods. It serves as the most important repository of religious authority for some 3,000 years. Chapters were carved on the pyramids of the ancient Fifth Dynasty. Texts were written in papyrus, and selections were painted on mummy cases well into the Christian era. In a certain sense, it stood behind all Egyptian civilization. Book of the Dead developed from a tradition of funerary manuscripts dating back to the Egyptian Old Kingdom. The first funerary texts were the pyramid texts, first used in the pyramid of King Unas of the 5th dynasty, around 2400 BCE. Here's a copy of the famous scene that a lot of people like to talk about. One my brother has tattooed on his back, and the whole world has grown familiar with. The judgment scene. From the pyramid text evolved the Ra Nuperet Emeru. It can be defined as a collection of work that helps she or he transition themselves into becoming our Ku ancestor in the afterlife. To the ancient Remech, how they lived in the afterlife was extremely important to them.
For thousands of years, we humans have been asking ourselves, what happens after death? The ancient Egyptians believed they had the answer. Once mummified, they would embark on a long and dangerous journey to an everlasting paradise. But to get there, they needed a guide with magic spells. The Book of the Dead. Travel back 3,500 years and follow the ancient Egyptians from death to what lies beyond in this once-in-a-lifetime exhibition. Journey through the afterlife, Ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead at the British Museum.
The Book of the Dead is a compilation of about 200 chants of spells. However, the chants of spells that appeared in the tombs were often those that were considered more important and affordable for families. The spells were mainly written on the papyrus, but could also be found inscribed on coffins, amulets, tombs, and wall figures. Here's an example of how it looks in the Peret Emeru. This is a bad copy because it's infused at the top with all kind of other stuff that looks like it bled into the Peret Emeru, and they were just trying to restore as much of it as they can. But as you can see, the cursive sesh, you know, it's rendering. So real quick, while, you know, this is a learning experience for a lot of people who may just been introduced to this. Anyone in the chat, can you tell me that's not a member of the SESU? And Brother Chavis, you cannot answer this question either. Which direction would we read this if we were looking at this? Now, I don't care if you know, never seen this before, anything like that. There's no right, there's no wrong answer here, especially if you're unfamiliar. But if you were to begin reading this text as it sits in front of you, which direction would you read this text? I know there's a slight delay in our way. It's a little quiet.
Yeah, it should be some people that can answer, because I see some of the people in the chat that watch some
okay, there we go. Here go the answers. Sutek, I should have ruled him out too. Everything says him and Sutek both says from right to left. Sister Keisha, she says from left to right. Jehuda said diagonal. Emiket said circular. Official Lost Cause says right to left. Brother Zane said it's hard to see. Yeah, I agree. Jay Mixon said left to right or right to left based on the way the characters face. Jerome says left to right. Infinite Minds from the left. Okay. All right. So I know some people paying attention. Brendan says right to left into the glyphs. So everybody who said from right to left would be correct. The reason being is because you read into and not to the back of. So how do we identify which direction to read the glyphs in? Well, we can see animals, body parts, plants, um, animal parts, something like that. Just to give you a gist to see what they're facing. If you see some birds, something that look like birds or body parts, and they're facing in a particular direction, then you would read into them. The Remeds did not believe in talking to one's back. It's just a sign of respect, right? So even when they wrote, when the scribes wrote, they wrote in a sense where you can understand that you need to be face to face with the people you're speaking to and of. So we can see numerous birds and body parts, even though it's hard to make out in this particular scene, that are facing all to the right. Now, in some scenes, you will have multiple directions taking place. So this would be what we call vertical right to left. All right, let's move on. Now, according to the Book of the Dead, the ancients believed that life here on earth, as well as the afterlife, were extensions of each other. Hence, there were no startings and ending points. They viewed life and death as an evolutionary process and continuation of a soul's journey through the universe. The idea is closely related to the concept of reincarnation, both in the physical and spiritual realms. The ancient Africans in Kemet also strongly believed that the spells in the Perit Imheru would help in the process of resurrecting the spiritual body and the immortalization of the soul.
Hello, I'm Roberta Shaw from the Royal Ontario Museum. Welcome to Egypt. We're here to tell you the story of the Rom's newly restored Book of the Dead. In Luxor, in southern Egypt, once known as ancient Thebes, and the Rom's Book of the Dead was purchased by the founder of the Rom, C.T. Corelli, when he worked here in Egypt 100 years ago. Presently, I'm standing on this vast graveyard which contains elaborate tombs and simple graves that date as far back as 3,500 years ago. The ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead is essentially a series of chapters written on papyrus, little aids giving knowledge to achieve paradise in the next life. They're the original illuminated manuscripts. We discover this in our storage, and it's going to be 6 meters. It's the length of these 2 tables. This particular piece, which is less than a meter, came into the museum with Corelli. We thought this was the only piece we had of this particular papyrus. We have now got 3 people from Bonn here. We have the language expert who knows how to read this stuff and, of course, put it together because it is a jigsaw puzzle. And we have the 2 women who are expert in actually conserving the papyrus itself.
The Arab excavators, they saw a roll in the tomb and they shouted, "Oh, a kitab al-Maut," that is translated from Arabic Book of the Dead. And this term sticks to this kind of Egyptian literature until today. Old Egyptians, they called the Book of the Dead a book of coming forth to daylight. He wanted to have powerful spells to guide him through the underworld.
Recent research has shown that the Rom's Book of the Dead dates back to 2,300 years ago, and that it was indeed from somewhere in this site. It was buried in one of these tombs with a man by the name of Amen Emhat.
I can say that this papyrus must come from Thebes. We have here 8 rods. These pieces exist only in Theban manuscripts.
Dr. Monroe was able to sort of gingerly unroll a bit of it, and she said, well, it belongs to this. And she said, there are 6 meters or so in this roll.
I have seen many manuscripts all over the world. This is one of the most delicate and wonderful. The fine brush of the painter, and especially the gold leaf. There are not so many where gold leaf is used in abundance.
It's certainly an exciting project. It's going to take us at least a month to first take it apart and then put it together, then conserve it. This scroll has been in storage for 100 years. We're literally bringing the Book of Dead to life.
All right, the Book of the Dead was used when the deceased would be buried with some compositions, particularly those that symbolize successful matriculations into the afterlife. Explain that a little bit deeper. So here's another image of the of a judgment, well, part of the judgment scene. The further that you get into the papyrus. All right, hold on 1 second. Now, the Book of the Dead was never codified, and no 2 copies of the work are exactly the same. They were created specifically for each individual who could afford to purchase one as a kind of manual to help them in the afterlife.
With 96 panels and seemingly endless array of hieroglyphs, this is the world's longest Book of the Dead. It was discovered a century ago by a British explorer in a tomb housing the daughter of a high priest. There it remained for 3,000 years. The Egyptians called these papyruses Books of the Dead because they were designed to assure the deceased a smooth passage into the afterlife.
It's a guidebook. It explains what they will find in the next world, what they must say to the gods, and it's a collection of spells which gives them special powers, so they can protect themselves against danger, and it gives them the knowledge that they need to persuade the gods to let them through safely into eternal life.
Perhaps more than any other civilization in history, the Egyptians left behind not just artifacts, but a whole culture surrounding death. The pyramids, mummies, and sarcophagi were all aimed at preserving the physical body long enough so it could be visited each day by the spirit of the dead. Powerful members of society were buried with objects such as amulets in order to protect them against the dangers of the exterior world and those of the gods.
The ancient Egyptians thought of death not as an end, but as a transition. So it was the end of one phase of life, but the beginning of another. And it was a bit like birth. It was like that difficult passage that you have to make to emergency life.
Since its discovery 100 years ago, the giant papyrus had never been shown in full for fear of light damage. In March, it will be returned to the museum's vaults, which, like the mummy's tomb, hopefully ensure that it too can enjoy eternal life.
All right. Now, having a Book of the Dead in one's tomb would be the equivalent of a student in the modern day getting their hands on all the test answers they would ever need. So here's another copy of a different papyrus that is written and housed in the museums, as you can see. And this scene is similar to the other judgment scene, but it's actually in another direction, and is not in its totality the same, because at the top there's more Neteru involved in this discussion as well. I see Kofi has transitioned to mobile. So I'm going to ask again the same question that I asked earlier. In which direction would you read the sesh based on what you see? Now, there's a lot of things that are going on in this scene that didn't take place in the previous scene. So be careful and kind of tell me, your directions. Kind of cheated, but.
Who you asking, me, Sean, or?
Nah, just the chat room.
Oh, okay.
All right, so Jaleel Henry says from left to right. Jerome Town said left to right. Everything says left to right. Emmy Cat, I don't think this will let me zoom in. Let me see. There we go. All right. So let's see if people can see it a little bit better. I don't think that you'll be able to see the entire inscription. But just based on right here, we'll stay right here in this little part right here. We'll see. One person says from right to left. I don't have a clue of which way. I like that answer because that's an honest answer. Okay, we got Emmy Cat regulating. Is there a book, literature, or documentation outlining the metal niches, the dates found, and the location of them, since no two books are the same? Jay Mixon, there's no two books the same because of the people who the people who transitioned when they purchased their Parit and Meru. It was written in a sense to help that particular. But we can go and we can find many different. Well, we could look in museums. We could start there because a lot of stuff was confiscated from Kemet, and we can look at different Parit and Merus. You have the papyrus of Ani, which is a familiar one. You have the papyrus of Hunefer. You have a lot of different papyrus that we can actually look at and try to do it. So he said it looks both ways. The second thought.
If I was at the house, I could give out a list of all the different books. I actually got a lot of them. Me and Chris, I think some of the other session members have them as well.
Yeah, they're in the vault. Yeah, Brother Mathis. So in this inscription, right, it's kind of all over the place because you have this deity here. Many people may be familiar with her because she has this emblem on her head, and she's facing to the right, and some of these glyphs are facing to the right, and then you have these glyphs that are facing to the these glyphs are facing to the right. All of these from here back are facing to the right, so you'll read them from right to left, and then whoever. So that means somebody right here must be speaking to somebody that's over here that we can't see, and because this says words spoken by was seer. As you can see, it began right there because of what we see right here. I don't know if this is a quail chick behind this reed leaf, but it would be like F Ankh, if that's an Ankh something. I can't really see it to make it all the way out. And then you would have, you would start here and you would kind of battle back this way. Now, to the center here, or what's over the judgment scene, everybody in the judgment scene behind her is facing to the left. So you would read from left to right, and they're speaking to this deity. Does anybody know who this deity is that's right here? Yeah, know who this deity is right here, because this deity is facing toward everybody else, and the glyphs are facing the people that he's speaking to. So, this person is speaking from right to left. Now, some people may be good with this one, because this is like you know, you'll see a lot of this. Winning never. Neb unk nature. In So you got a lot going on right here. Yep. So everybody should be familiar with this deity. He was actually in the chat. I don't know if he's still in there right now. Keisha said, "Is that Imhotep?" Nin means no. That's not Imhotep. Eric and Kamos actually provided you the answer. That's correct. And June actually gave you his name. I wasn't trying to do that, but June tried to give it to you anyway. But June is correct. His name it starts off with his name. So this one here, this person, his name is revealed here in this column too. As he's writing, he's described. Notice he's always writing here. And there you have the wind of the heart again. You have the ma'at on the scale, and you have the heart on the scale as well. You got the monkey up there, the baboon up there. You got the deities. They're all facing one way. Notice these deities at the top are facing to the right, but there's some deities right over here above the offering that are facing toward Wasir, or what some say with Osiris, or you might get into the Asar type of a thing. Now here we have words spoken by this person who's speaking, Jehuti, right here. So we know Jehuti is speaking, he's recording, and he's telling us, you know, everything that we need to know right here. So you want to kind of pay attention to that. I'm gonna zoom out of there so we can kind of move a little bit forward. All right, so 4 different versions of the Ra Nuperit Imheru exist. Version 1 comes from the 5 copies written on the walls of the pyramid. Version 2 was written on the papyrus during the 11th dynastic period. Version 3 was written in hieratic as well as the Sesh, and the last version was written around the Ptolemy period in the 27th dynasty. So I think I answered your question, brother Jay, if I'm not mistaken. So there's 4 different versions of the Ra Nuperit Imheru, and you know, out of those 4 main different versions, because of the time periods, there's just, you know, really changing the names and so forth. All right, so here's the judgment scene again, the famous judgment scene. As you can see, you have the baboon there. You got the scale, the wind of the heart scales there. There was a trick. There was a reason why I put this in here. And one of the reasons that I put this in here is because a lot of people look at this scene and they look at this papyrus and they look at here, the scales. And then all of a sudden you get this interpretation of what people may render it as chakras. Now there's an article that I gave you from the website. Well, there's an article if you go into our website here, seshmetalnature.com. If you click on that, you can go into the blogs and you can look at work done by the Seshu, which will be us, the students, and then you will have work that's done by Sebo Ujawu. There's an article in there that speaks to this scene and this part of the scale in particular. And also that same article is also in the Conscious Community's first Pan-African journal, Killmonger's Corner, which also can be found in the description, as well as Has the Metal Nature Been Deciphered, a rebuttal book to Walter Williams. That both links to both of those books can be purchased from those links that we actually have, that are Amazon links that are in the description. So if you look in the description of this particular video, you will find the Conscious Community first Pan-African journal and the link to purchase, you know, the rebuttal book to Walter Williams. All right. So the Book of the Dead from the satire period tend to organize the chapters into 4 sections. You have chapters 1 through 16. The deceased enters the tomb and descends to the underworld, and the body regains its powers of movement and speech. Chapter 17 through 63 is an explanation of the mythic origin of the gods and places. The deceased is made to live again so that he may arise reborn with the morning sun. Then you have chapters 64 through 129, which the deceased travels across the sky in the sun arc as one of the blessed dead. In the evening, the deceased travels to the underworld to appear before Wasir. And then chapter 130 to 189, having been vindicated, the deceased assumes power in the universe as one of the gods. This section also includes assorted chapters on protective amulets, provision of food, and important places. The Ranu Peret Emeru of Ani, Amen Imhat, Hunefer, Quina, Sesostris, Panjedum II, and many others make up a huge collection of work left behind by the ancestors. That's what Aku means. It is here we can take an in-depth look at exactly what our African ancestors and kinmen believed. But in order for us to know, we must take the time to study the language and have a clear-cut determination on exactly what type of manual the Ra Nu Peret Emheru is. So if we see images of the famous judgment scenes, we can predetermine someone is going forth before the Wasir to be judged, which ultimately is yourself. Now, I did mention some other names of papyruses that involve as well, Jay. So, you know, you kind of got ahead of me a little bit with your question, but I kind of knew I had some answers in there. So what is the Ra Nu Peret Emeru? It is a guide that helps you walk through or go through your path, your journey, judge yourself, predetermine your rights versus your wrongs, weigh your heart on a scale. You are responsible for telling yourself the truth. Are you going to vindicate yourself based on your knowing if you live life the right way? It's an ancestor manual. It's going to show you how to become a wasir, which was the ultimate goal. As you can see here, you know, you're the ultimate judge of yourself. Nobody else is judging you, but nobody else is going to judge you but you, the way that you need to be judged. And you can't lie to yourself. Well, you could try to lie to yourself, but that's hard. Let me move on. Here's the sources for the presentation here. And you can pause the video and copy them off. There's some other sources here as well. You can copy them if you want and put them off. And then we'll end right there with the last little bit of sources. All right, so I see Kofi transitioned on me. I do want to thank everybody for tuning in to the show. Right now, you know, the presentation is actually done. If you just joined us, please rewind and look back at what we were talking about or dealing with regarding the presentation or just in general. I'm looking in the chat for a couple of more questions before I end it. You playing the Rob-on video? I don't know nothing about that, brother Kofi. Oh, you talking to somebody else? Because I don't know nothing about that. I was curious, how old was Isis when she married with Seer? And what was the age of the marriage in ancient Kemet? Easy bands. Contrarian thinker. I told Monica to do that, brother. You should have been like unblocked, like, you know what I'm saying? Because that was an accident. I wasn't trying to, like, I went back to try to unblock you, but yeah, just tell God. Well, I can tell you listen. I'll tell him because Monica was supposed to do it. You and Jay. That's not a good. Well, I guess if you think it's a good question. Well, I was curious how old Isis was. All set. I don't. That's a good. Hey, you tell me, man. Research it and let me know. I don't know how old two fictional people could be. I didn't know that mythology had a late. If these people never existed, right? Are we saying that they existed? They're not literal people, so the age would be. There's no need for the age at that point. It's a genuine question. Okay. Well, yeah. I understand that. They don't talk age, brother. What does it mean when they have the Ankh in their hands on the glyphs? Well, usually when you see the Ankh in one of the deities' hands, they are usually getting ready to put the Ankh to one's nose or whatnot. It's just something that was always done as a sign of, giving life. Or giving one life or something like that. Let me see. Yeah, nah, this wasn't a long drawn out bill, yo. This was like a quick hit it and quit it type of a bill. Look at Sonnet in the chat. Yo. Oh yeah, that's right. You see him, you heard what he said? Chakras and pseudo. Put that on a big screen. Oh, so that's who you was asking was gonna play the replay of the bill, which okay, yeah. Oh no, I think he will. I think Sot will. Yeah. Yep. I didn't know it was here. Yeah, he said peace and black pride. That's the real side, y'all. No, I'm not trying to argue. Oh, okay. Nah, Easy Benz, I don't take it as an argument though, bro. I just say that, they don't mention anything about the age, like I said, you know what I mean? She was a deity. She was deified. So if you're looking for the first attestation of her, then we would have to go into the one of the earliest texts that actually mentions a lot of these deities and then bring those out, if that's what you mean. Contrary, crazy. Yeah, nah, but contrary, and let me yeah, Monica was supposed to do that, brother. You and Jake Johnson. Yeah. She said, I'm everywhere in Egypt. Yeah. That's correct too, Brendan. Yep. To you. Good job on that. Yep. Teams win, man. Teams win. You're right. Divine protection. Teams win. He says, what do we make of Diop saying that Anu wrote the Book of the Dead and the Pyramid text? Can we find Diop saying that? I thought I was asking that earlier though, Asiatic. If you have like which book that was written and a page number, then I can at least read it for the audience and we can put it on the screen, because I think I heard people kind of lead to the Anu. I don't even know who the Anu are. And, you got people that run around with this Anu thing and they think that it means original people or whatnot. And that kind of, that threw me off a little bit, just to be honest. Because that Anu stuff, I don't know, man. I don't know. Let me try to do y'all one better. Let's see if we can pull up a little Metal Nature. And with F stated right, is it he that lives? It is life. Just guessing. Let me double check that for Brother June. I'm gonna do that too. I'm pulling out the dictionary. Send June, and we can verify. I think you might be right though. Where Emmy can go? I think she might have dipped on us, but I think you may be right, St. John. You usually right on some of that, a lot of that stuff. Not some. My bad. Disrespecting your skill set. Nah, you usually be bodying that, bro. It would F. Yep, because that's what's in there. It would F up. You just put stative. Uh-huh. And it is he that lives. Or it is life. I'm going with he that lives. He said the Anunnaki. Boy, y'all silly, yo. Let me see if I can. First, let me look that up for June. Man, I'm fasting today, man, and I didn't eat much of anything yesterday. And I don't know how long I'm gonna make this fast. I'm gonna have to give me a smoothie. I know why I'm hungry though, because I just ain't down a gallon of water. And that's what I need to do. I need to drink me a gallon of water. That'll kill my hunger right there. I would M17, G43, I9. I don't think I got to add the I9. Basically, what y'all hearing me say right now are Gardner codes. Gardner codes are what we use to key into the dictionary to find particular entries. I think I showed a few people before when we were looking up words or whatnot. So this is part of the actual process when we're dealing with the sesh. Let me share my screen too, because I'm kind of tripping on y'all because y'all can't see what I'm doing, but you can hear me just talking. And where the show go? There we go. All right, share. Dictionary. Boom. All right, there we go. My bad, y'all. Okay, so this combination of words a whole lot. I'm gonna have to shrink it. So basically, this is the dictionary right here. And what I entered in were Gardner codes. As you can see up here in the control find, these are Gardner codes. Right? So if I enter in the Gardner codes, you'll get a word usually that actually comes up. And then what we do is we'll look, and I'm just giving you an example, so to say. So don't just take what I got in here for something. We have the reed leaf Gardner code is M17 and the quail chick is G43. So we'll be looking for a specific, we can narrow the search down by doing a different type of a search, or we can just deal with it right here. So is, are, whereas, as, I, me, my. Wow. Okay, so just kind of going through a couple of things here. What we'll end up doing is when we're collecting the data, which is one of the steps. So the first thing you do in step one, when you're trying to deal with the meta nature, and this is when we talk about the method, is you look in the direction in which to read the glyphs. That's step one. Then step two is more like a collective data process. So you start, writing down each symbols, right? You'll write down, you'll look up the Gardner code for each one of the sessions, the glyphs or the teats. And then step three is you'll group the signs to form words, right? So this is where the determinatives come in, and that which tells us where a word, comes together, and so on and so forth. And then step 4 is then you come up with a sensible translation. So really step 3 and step 4 work hand in hand with each other. But step 3 is you put stuff together to form the words, which really you're going to get your what we call transliteration. So you see these things right here. Let me zoom in, man, my bad. So you see right here, so you'll see the sesh, like this will be written in a sesh on the wall somewhere. And then this is what we're doing when we're trying to transliterate. This will transliterate out to this, and then you should come up with this word in your translation. But the method that we have been taught, we have to be very precise and careful when we do this and we go through these steps. It's not tedious work. It's measure twice, cut once. And hold on, I got somebody in the chat. Hold on, my screen sharing. Let me stop sharing. Who raising their hand, dog? There we go. There we go. My bad, y'all. All right, I got the Seshu in the house. Sister Emmy Cat. It looked like the other person dipped.
Yeah. I didn't mean to interrupt, but continue.
Oh, no, I wasn't doing that. Okay, so basically, when we go over this method, we're being detectives. We're trying to figure out what they're saying. He welcomed life. Yeah, so we're looking for a particular word. So what we would do is, for instance, if we see some glyphs, right, like we'll see this, which is one of the things that June was saying in the chat. He was trying to get a sensible translation on something that was in the Paret Imheru in one of the judgment scenes. And we know if we come up with this, but we see what is a horn viper that would transliterate out to a .f. We know how like a diacritic, like a dot and then an F. Then we would transition that into a word that could mean something specifically. But what we do though is, step 1, we look in the direction in which to read the glyphs. Step 2 is we start documenting these signs and things of that nature. And then step 3, when we're putting these the glyphs together to form a word, we end up usually with the transliteration. And then step 4, we should come up with a translation. But in step 2, when you're documenting certain things, step 3, when you're putting these words together, you usually want to make sure that you're documenting what page number in either Vigus or the German dictionary where you get, that particular word, because it's useful for you to go back, because some of these, go ahead, Laura Lee. You can unmute. I think it's Kofi. You should be able to speak though. You got out. Oh, okay. Well, if you come back, then I'll let you go back in and speak. But we do these things methodically because we're trying to just basically demonstrate. I'll be back when I get back to my. Okay, that was Kofi. Who translated him nature to priest, Sean? Let's look up. Let me look that up for you. Him nature. Boy. Here, you think you slick. Here, think it's 149 words for priest. related to priest, because you'll have like priest of Hathor, music priest, you know, you'll have all of those, but I know what you mean. You're looking for just the word itself. So you have like you have the word let me show you. The word priest would be like sim. So really we would need to, you know, we got to see them glyphs, man, in order to really deal with that. Look, see how you got Sadna Suit? So I'm gonna change his name on y'all. Sadna Suit Tep, first king's son, a priest. So we can go through this together. Look, priest in Edfu with Nep. And no, that's not a cross. That's the M42 glyph. Totally different from the cross, which is ME. If you see a cross, it's ME.
Yeah, that's a flower.
So when I was going over the Gardner codes, the M section, if you look in the M section, the link that I gave y'all in the chat, we actually have a sign list on the Session Meta Nature website, which will help you also learn some of the glyphs. Okay, hold on. Satep, you able to speak?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, I thought I was gonna have to bring you in or something, but you good? Yeah, I can hear you. Yep. So we got Brother Satep on here. But Eric, just looking at your word, man, you know, hecka. All of this stuff gonna be determined. That's what makes the determinatives important. But I don't know, man. I'm not at liberty to answer that one. You know, that's a Wujawu, Asar, Sanjeti question. You got to get into the comparative method and break down those words to a T to see where it derived from. There you go. Himnechatepi, high priest. You see what I'm saying? And I think that some of these words are just basically like that, you know.
Yeah, you know how they say that a priest is you know, somebody with an important job. So yeah. like we always say with the translations, you know, you have to be flexible. So it could be, you know, there's different types of positions that people could hold, but it's like saying a manager or a CEO. So it could be different kinds of managers or different kinds of CEOs. In that sense, that's I mean, I think we could take it like that. But with the translations, is you know, you have to be flexible because there's different ways we can say happy, we could say joy, we could say all that. So it will be the same in different languages as well. So you know, it's not just all cut and dry in that sense, I guess.
Right.
So those are different kinds of positions being held by people.
Right. Also, many people look at that right there. Tepu Redui, the ancestors. How many times you see that? You may not ever see it, but the German dictionary, if you put this into the German dictionary, it'll tell you how many times it actually was used. That thing is methodical. That thing is way, you know. We expect Vegas to get a little bit better, but this is a 2015 edition. You see the Asiatics up there? That's for Asiatic right there. You see the Asiatics up there, Amu? There you go, Asiatic black man. We snuck you in there some kind of weird way. But so we want to just basically, man, kind of slow some things down when we can. We can't really just microwave everything. Chavis said, better learn German. But a European sees priest in him nature, not an African. Well, you know, cultural context is important, so I wouldn't argue against it. I just wouldn't, you know, it's kind of like how we deal with, some of us have the phobia, the God phobia. Some of us wouldn't deal with phobia. You know, when we hear the word God, we kind of, nah, you know what I'm saying? Saint Antoine was hush your mouth. He was, you know, he had a stigma for this God thing for a while. you just say divine. Some people Kofi too. You just say divine. Or if you're okay with the God word, you deal with it from that perspective. I mean, we all know that the neteru or the nature, just something different than what they're translating it out to be. But you just comparing. We speak in English. Hekakasu. Yeah, if you're trying to say Hekakasu, do you know what the Hekakasu actually means? Foreign chieftains. That's the Hekakasu is the foreign chieftains. And some people argue about the Hekakasu as well, which is a good thing. I've also found out that through some research from the Shemsu Heru research team that there are a lot of dictionary entries that have been incorrectly entered that actually means something different than the dictionary entries. So that information in itself is going to open the doors of challenging academia on a scholastic level and getting some of these definitions corrected. Now, I can't wait for that work in its entirety to be done. And I think that was some of the things that I saw us putting out in his current work in that book that he did, from, if I'm not mistaken, which is the second book that he has coming out this year, that we really need to pay attention to, because if we're correcting some definitions, some entries and things of that nature, that's changing the game. You thought the meaning of the place name Kemet was a problem. When they start correcting some of these definitions and terms, boy, that's going to be a whole nother thing. So that's, that things like that happen because more information is available, but also people are starting to study linguistics more, and they're able to do, the comparative method and get some renderings corrected, and which in return helps us out in our translations of certain texts. And I don't think that the way that we were translating text, transliterating and translating text earlier when we began to learn how, that we would hold to some of those same translations today. We would correct a lot of those translations based on what we know now. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Brother Satel, you got something, man?
No, I'm just trying to see the flow of the conversation. I just got in.
Oh yeah, man. Well, I was just basically picking up where I left off on Garfield channel, and just kind of breathing off that for a minute, but really leaning on defining the Paret in Heru, and then we get into a little sesh talk and just answering some people's questions in the chat, who had questions and everything. How old was King Tut and his wife when they married? What was the acceptable age for marriage in ancient Kemet? Satel, how old was King Tut when he got married?
I don't know, man. I don't know at the top of my head.
Yeah.
He died, he was like, what, 16, 17?
Right.
So
he was young in his age when he died. I know what you're about to say, Emmy, so I'm gonna let you say it. Go ahead.
No. I was just saying that from what I've read so far, but I've not confirmation of that or anything like that. I think he was about 8 years old or something like that.
Right. To answer the marital age, you have to look at the culture and put it in and understand the context and the life expectancy in ancient Kemet. Remember, people didn't live really long lives or things like that. So you would have to look at what would deem one mature enough to be married, and then you would see if usually puberty for a lot of African cultures. But then you would have to not only focus on Kemet, you would need to go and look inside of other cultures, ancient cultures around that same time period to properly understand what would deem an age, because an age in ancient times is not the age of today. You have other people setting the agendas. Just like, as an example, I'm going to assume as an example, easy bands, that you may be 40 years old. So your grandfather and your grandmother may not be of the same age gap, because at times in the 50s and 60s you had people that were marrying at 14, right? 15, 16. It's like the age of consent changed over time. You still have people in Alabama today with consent that will marry off their child to someone at the age of 16, and it's perfectly legal to do that with consent.
I was watching a documentary the other day, and I think it was Venezuela or something. It was somewhere in Central America. It could have been Brazil, where it was just doing a study on how it's a lot of underage pregnant women out there, and basically they get married early. And sometimes the guy will leave them. You know what I'm saying? But it'd be like they'd be getting married at 12 years old, having a baby at 13, 14, like they body. I don't know. It was a good documentary, but I think it was on Vice or something. But yeah, I mean, a lot of cultures still practice that till today. So, I mean, it was going down in ancient times, and it's still going down now. It's just all about the societal norm. What's the societal norm? It's cool for that to happen over there. We may shun it here, but that's what it is over there. So.
Right. Plus, you have to remember that some of those traditional marriages, they do not really include other things that we might look at and be like, oh, I don't think I'll do that, like sexual intercourse and things like that. So it would be, marriage would be a contract, and somebody would there would be a young person who would be married, but not like have a consummated marriage in that sense for a long time. So it would be more like a contract. And then you have to remember also, like in ancient Egypt, it's like the life expectancy was around like 34, 35 years old or something like that. So obviously you won't be waiting up until your 20s or whatever it is, or your 30s, because that will be like, when people are, dying off pretty much. So, you have to kind of look at things in their surrounding and try to understand them.
Brendan asked, he was asking me, would you consider most Faulkner's works authoritative? I would say no. I don't look at really much of the people who have a say in academia as authoritative. At this point, because we've been armed with the tools to actually be able to verify academia. So if it seems like one is the authoritative on it, we actually can go behind them and scrub it and see if we're coming up with some of the things that they're coming up with. And like I said earlier, if that transliteration is on point, then, they got the transliteration right. I mean, that helps us further understand. Now, then when we get into the translating part, then we may come up with a different translation only because of cultural context and understanding or looking at Africa different. And Eric made a point to that. He said that most people look at African culture through European lenses, which would then go back to Sebewu Jawu's famous quote, it's like people changing clothes. People changing clothes without taking a bath. And, people are subject to, still being filthy, but wearing brand new clothes, So I think that we need to just have the patience to take the bath. And if we're talking about unlearning, relearning, that whole process of unlearning, relearning, that we do it the right way. We don't just try to hurry up and get dressed when we haven't taken a bath. And so I wouldn't say that he's authoritative per se. You got to think I think one of the best quotes I've read when looking at different perspectives was James P. Allen's quote on E.A. Wallace Budge. Although he gave Mr. Budge a credit for doing a lot of things, he also said that, that he looked at things from a different perspective and couldn't have been spot on about the people in the culture because of his understanding of certain things or the way he was influenced. So I think that approach is a legitimate approach that one should consider. And sometimes you'll hear some people say that certain things that some parts of Bud's work is outdated. You hear people say that, but that's not disrespectful in a sense on how people want to make it seem disrespectful. It's just basically saying that we just have more up-to-date information where we can correct some of the things that Budge didn't consider at his time, dealing with the session. If that's a fair assessment. Yeah, we can't verify any Moses. This is a good discussion, by the way. Anyone who wants true understanding of this should get Ujawu's book. That's correct. That's correct. Get Saber Ujawu's book as well, because he goes through it in the beginner's book. He walks you through it. He's methodical. So, he's teaching scientific literacy in this whole approach. And that scares people. That scares a lot of believers because they don't think that you should follow code or you should, use a particular method per se. And we should just believe these things. As an example, let me see. Give me somebody. I'm just throwing something out there, y'all. Just take me somewhere. I'm trying to pull something up real quick. That ain't gonna help. We just set it. Let's go current. This is good. It's not really good.
Faulkner got some good work though. I will say that.
Yeah. We all gonna applaud everybody's work because it didn't do nothing but just empower us with the ability to go back and go behind some of them, especially when we all doing what we do. So for instance, let me pull this up and see if we can get a better view of the image. Now I hope we can see this really good. We don't want, oh no, hold up. Let me see how I look on the YouTube. I think this scene right here is actually on the books, on the book of
You gotta share your screen.
Ain't sharing?
Nah, I just see the dictionary. You probably have to click to that screen.
Yeah, you're right. Cause I had to just share it on one thing instead of everything. All right. Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna let y'all listen real quick. I hung up. That was just call. I call him back. Nah, it won't zoom. It won't zoom in correctly. Maybe. Let's see. Wasir Necha Ah. So let me get out of that. Meaning Ma'at. Okay, so let's say you got somebody that's looking at a text and they are translating the text, right? Well, transliterating the text. And for instance, let's do this. Here, let me go here. Right here. Dang it. Want me to stay? Let's do it right here. If someone does not follow protocol with what's to be done right here, just in this little area where we are right here, they may mess up the transliteration in this particular text. And for instance, because we're looking at the glyphs, right? And Sister Emiket and I think Brother Kofi both gave this way, but how would you, if anybody that's familiar with the text, how would you read this line right here, right where the eye is? The eye, the bread loaf, the throne, the sedge plant, the water ripple, all 5 of those glyphs. How would you read that? Anyone in the chat on the panel, I believe there's a relationship there. Can any of you confirm or disapprove? What do y'all think? Is there a relationship between his name, Komoto, and Kemet? Kemet equals black, Komoto flame. First easy band. Kim, KM means black. Kemet does not mean black. Kemet's a place name. So it's talking about an area. Okay.
We would have to see the glyphs first.
Yeah. Look at us all. We read it using our third eye. Yo, Asar has changed his tone on every chat room. Usually it's the black man is God.
Hey, you see, the eye is all over the wall.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, that's the third eye. That's the third eye, yo. Okay, but yeah, do we know what the eye transliterate out to? Anyone familiar with what the eye transliterate out to? Is the eye by itself? I'm asking the chat. Is the eye by itself here?
Yeah, it's hanging up there.
I got a third eye set of eyelashes. Yo, these people crazy. Hard to see, honestly. Okay, so I can kind of see it from my cell phone, but what I'm asking simply is, like, for instance, let me give you an example. MEK, I'll let MEK tell y'all what it is, but to the commoner, if we're reading this, right, what if we said, suit with seer in. And then we would go here and say, listen, let me say this. If you try to read anything in the Shanu and Satep and Ra is on the panel or in the chat, just don't do it. Just ask.
That's ramen noodle right there.
Ask Satepi Ra.
You got ramen and noodle. Right?
You're right. That's ramen noodles, baby, in the sesh. If it comes to the Shinu, or what you may know as a cartouche, please just defer to Satep. Do not embarrass yourself and do a Facebook Live and then start getting these people names wrong, because Satep is watching. Anytime somebody dealing with the Shinu, he is the Shinu king. There's no other person I know of that then picked up on these people names fast enough. It's names and Shinus, I don't even know it. He be like, yeah, that's such and such and such and such. See, look, Jehudi laughing because he know I'm telling the truth. Don't do it. You're going to end up like that little dude on Facebook. What's his name? I don't want to say his name, but yeah, I know what I'm talking about. All right, Emiket, to help the chat out, how would we read this first one right here with the I?
I think they already got it in the chat.
Oh, they did?
Ear. Somebody did. Somebody did right ear.
I know Travis. Okay, yeah, ear. That's correct. That's correct. When the transliteration is ear. Yep. But it's little things. It's methodical, y'all. So it's not guesswork what we're doing. We're not, when people say, how do we know your transliteration or translation is correct? First, do you even know what a transliteration is? You know what I mean? And then second, will you render a proper translation to us if you knew what it means in regard to the sesh? So we have to be like really patient in these conversations. And I know a lot of people don't like to have these type of dialogues. They want to like meet the girl, get to home. You know what I'm saying? They want to in the park home run if they first at bat and never played the game before. That's it. That's what people want to do. They want the in the park home run the first time. And you can't do sesh metal nature like that. It's not going to cooperate with you like that because of the rules and the method. So, I ain't gonna hold everybody up, man. I just wanted to show y'all that real quick. Earlier, you kept seeing this name right here with the I again. You see it? The throne and then the seated deity. And we kept telling y'all that that's with seer. So these are some names that you will notice a lot. You see Nature I, great God. You'll see like Ma'a over there. Ear. You'll see Sa-Ra. There's a lot of names. I mean, a lot of things that we can mention. Neb Tawi, the Nature U. There you go. See there? Again, words spoken by. Who's speaking right here? See, this one I like because words spoken by are set. These three glyphs right there. Words spoken by are set. And then I think this is saying Weret, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, usually would be.
Yeah,
damage. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because usually you will get a name and then right after the name you get a title. Just like on the other side you saw Wazir and then you saw Necha'a, the great card. So you
right
get
here,
the name
yeah.
and the title. Oh, and then on this other side too, that will be a title. Probably.
Yeah, right here. Yeah. So what she's speaking to is in reference to this area right here. Where we see Wazir and then we see the great God. That's what she means by a title. And right here we see the same thing with Aset and then her title. But in this Shanu over here, we see the name again, which is similar to over there. Some don't say who know this name right here. Chavis, who name is that right there?
While he's typing that, somebody was asking, I think it was grown black man was asking, what's the plaster for? I think he's referring to the damage part that has been covered.
Right here.
Yeah, so that's like some damaged parts that have been plastered.
Yeah. Man, that went straight hang up. Yep. So a lot of times when we get like familiar with a particular text and we start reading them, we start knowing the patterns. And then like when we see damage right here, we kind of already know what's going on because look, you can kind of make out the flag right here. And then there's something behind that. But if we go back over here and we look for that same flow right here, the same thing going on. So we go right here, we see the same glyph patterns. You don't believe me? Look at the glyphs right here. Watch this. These glyphs right here. The Ma'a. Look, in this direction.
Right.
Same thing. So where we see the damage at, we're able to still know what's going on in the scene where we start being trained, I should say, recognizing these things.
Yeah, you have to be good at recognizing patterns. If you show that, you will see the basket.
Yep.
So, and you can see, obviously, you can see there's it's a place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a place because what we call the X-Man belt right here. What Imhotep argues in chapter 2 or 3? Chapter 2.
Joe. Y'all see what Joe put in that chat? You know better than that, Joe.
But yeah, so But Asar argues that this Nuit glyph, which usually tells us that it's talking about a place or a city, that those are water canals. Right there. That's a great argument that he makes in that book, in the Shemsu Heru research book, the meaning, the contribution to the meaning of the place name Kemet. And I think a lot of people should read that argument and slow that argument down. I think he's done some information on it on his channel, but people need to get that work, man. June said, "What you talking about, Satel?"
Pull it back up.
So yeah, that plaster. I'll back over here to the name. My bad. I just could have went up. Who name right here, June?
Oh no, my brother Joe was right. My bad, Joe.
I thought you were laughing because he's giving it away.
Yep. Yeah, and the second one. But what the first one, the first one, June. Well, no, don't answer. Chavis gonna answer the first one. You helped him with the second one. This name right here. We already got this name. We got this name. We need this name right here, Chavis. Who name is this right here? Yeah, nah, June, you jumped the gun. Nasir said, too late. Remember, it's two Shanus, so there's two names.
June forgot a part.
Oh.
That's what it was. That's why I wasn't looking right, because I'm looking. I'm like, hold on. You got it's the beginning part.
Oh, he said Jehudi said it. Oh, okay. God dang it, Jehudi.
I ain't see it. My bad.
He said, yeah, Min Ma'ara.
No, no. He got Marion Patai right, but he forgetting somebody else in there.
Oh. Oh, yeah, right here.
You gotta remember this Seti the first.
Yeah.
The one holding it out.
So you got Seti.
Marion Patai.
Yeah.
Seti, yep. And it's usually the double reed leaves when you're dealing with the times is an indicator that you know. It's one of the clues, I should say. Sarah, son of Ra. Man, It's a lot going on, man. I like these epithets, though. I always get amused.
The question is, if anybody on the chat can get it, what particular royal name are we dealing with on those two?
Oh. Hey, I think Chavis gonna cheat. He gonna pull out Saber Book. The foot, leg, and empty eye symbol is Berber. Okay, Asiatic black man, stop. Anybody know the names?
You might have to show the top part.
All right, here we go. There we go. If y'all got Sable Jawa book, you can. I swear I was about to. Yeah, look at it. I knew you was about to pull that book out.
Hey, you got to use your tools, man. That's
good.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna knock you, brother. Shoot, I pull up things out too.
Yeah, that's what he bought it for. Shit, use it.
Anybody else try to join? I can't. Y'all know I can't see.
I just see 3 participants.
Yeah, okay. We can see who's joining.
All right, cool.
Okay, those are the first two, the two Shanus you see on the screen. That's answering, was it Newser? It's asking which ones. So you have the two Shanus.
Yeah, so you have one name on the right, and then you got one name on the left. And above is an indicator of what name is what, and the other name is what.
Okay, let's ask the question a little bit better so they can get an understanding.
All right, go ahead, Shanu King.
So the king has 5 royal names. The question is, out of the 5, you got 2 here. Which 2 are these? So which 2 royal names are being used out of the 5? Yeah, this is a good example. Matter of fact, it say Seti the first up at the top, Joe. Or Sean.
Yep, the tomb of Seti the first. Mm-hmm. Yep. Tell us where it's located at. KV 17.
Ah.
I wasn't paying no attention.
I just happened to look. I'm like, okay. I had to put my reading glasses on. Sorry.
It says it's a title given to my cousin's grandfather because he burnt his land black to replenish the now replenished Kemet with black soil, hence the name. Y'all don't see a similarity there? No easy bets.
Yeah, bro, that's looker shit, man. You gotta. We don't see that. That's just looker shit, man. It's good that you try to correlate the two, but
yeah,
you know, you got to do some. If you want to really get that answer, you know, you're gonna have to do that research.
Nasir says the golden Heru and the throne name.
Well, you got one right. That's good though. That's good.
Yeah.
You won for. You got one right. But Black Asiatic or Asiatic Black said Mary was used masculine and feminine. Mary is a word that just means beloved. So these names actually mean something. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So they ain't just a word. I mean, they ain't just put it together. They actually have meaning behind it. And a lot of African traditions have that. Kofi did a good presentation on that too. Y'all need to go check it out. You know, we gotta start referencing our brother's work. A lot of people. That's why we getting so upset, because people don't be referencing nobody's work. People already done put the work in. That's why I don't be doing stuff no more, because people don't be paying attention. I ain't knocking y'all in the chat though. I'm just saying.
You good on the Sarah name, bro. We with you, Nasir. What's the other name though? If you got the book, use it. I ain't gonna tell you not. Son of Ra name. That's the Sarah name. What's the okay? So put them. Okay, we got the Sarah name. What's the other name again? So we got the Sarah name and what?
If you have the book, let's see where we have it. If you have, somebody got it halfway. If you have the book, you will probably have to get page from page 157. We have the royal names, and if I just mention what they are, or should I not?
You can. We can let people know.
Okay, so
You said what? You said page what? 167.
157.
Which version you got pulled out?
Oh, that you know, you have to be
the latest one
version. Yeah.
Well, you know, I got that other version.
Yeah. But you know, you can't pull that up. It's 2020. Anyway.
You're right.
So, well, it's not the golden horror's name because that would have Heru on it. So you have the Nepti name that would have the two ladies, Nepti.
Mm-hmm.
You have the Sarah name, which somebody did mention, and that has that.
You getting close.
So somebody did get almost close. It's just they definitely do need to get the book then.
Right. You that close, man. Yeah. Get the book, you knock it on out the park. Or sign up for the class and get the book. Kill two birds.
Mm-hmm.
Don't say the oh yeah, you said that earlier. She already told you that now. Let me see. I can't see the chat. Javis said Nasu Biddy. You see Nasu in there? Tape is guessing. Yeah,
For which
you
one?
know,
Because there is the second one. I think it is the Nisupi. I mean
yeah.
the first one from the from the right. We already did establish the Sarah, so
Oh yeah, I know Nasir. Yeah, he
yeah.
watched the videos. He said I ain't got the book. The Nepti name?
No. So that
Nah.
is the Nisupi.
Yeah, the one with Sear on there. He said I seen the suit. Ding 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 ding. Mary Totten means beloved of a teen. Oh man. My boy Asiatic just be guessing, boy. You gonna put it together one way or the other. They don't care. I got a brand new copy of Sable Ujaru book, man. I can't wait on the grammar book though, man.
Now, Savage, you should know better.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
got it, though. The brother got it earlier, though. He was just all over the place with it. He guessed all of them. He couldn't have been wrong.
Can't be wrong with that, you know.
But yeah, that's good though, man. He definitely learned it.
Yeah, we definitely do need to pull out our freestyle Fridays
Yeah, it's
back
Friday
on
today.
deck because even the chat is getting slow.
Yeah. And it'd be good for people to see us make the mistakes that we make. But I'm about to Nasir, because you watch the channel. Who's speaking right here? Right here. Who is it speaking? Oh, this should be easy. You should be able to say this whole line right here.
I can't even see it, Sean.
Yeah, it's moving so fast. It's like flashing all over the place.
My bad. I'm tripping. Let me slow it down right here. This line. Even with the messed up part right here, you should know who all that is right there. Who the heck said the two ladies? No, Asiatic, give it up. Let me move it over a little bit so you know.
Just leave it right there.
He said the two ladies are fire.
Where Juju at, man?
Man, she hiding, yo. She gonna come and be like, watching now.
Yeah, sure. You need to let that just stay still.
Yeah, I was looking at the YouTube too. I was like, wow, that thing flat. All right, so who's speaking right here? I already helped you out. Word spoken by who? Lafayette, Sister Lily. Okay. All right, what else? So word spoken by Hey Roo. And what's the rest of that right there? Even with the damage, you got.
Oh man, come on.
Yeah, we ain't gonna put him through that, Sean.
I bet you he pulled through. He hit it though. He said the Hey Roo.
Yep, good job.
Grooveland Productions. If you see the eye, the throne, and a deity, that is Wasir, or what you may translate out to Osiris. Chavis said, yeah, he smacked himself on the forehead. Yeah, hey, Root name. Yep. Word
Yeah.
spoken by Hey Root.
But what the I really is a bilateral for I and R.
Uh-oh, he says, Asar? Nah. There's a duck with a single stroke behind it.
I think he was talking about what you were saying, Sean.
Okay. Yeah. When I was answering, okay. Yeah, dealing with Grooveland. That's correct. You're right. No, sir, brother. That daughter of Akhenaten married Tatent, beloved Aten. Oh, my goodness.
Where'd he get that from?
I forget the stream be behind like a mug, yo.
Hey, people love Akhenaten, boy. They love
Man, he's day one, yo. He is the.
man.
I was talking about.
Is there a
Yeah.
special reason for that?
I don't know, Cat. It's just like people love that man. That's they go-to. That's like they Kemet dagger. That's how they try to use it, like it's a dagger. Like, bro, y'all don't even know the whole story. Because people don't know the whole story because the Aten came before Akhenaten. Amenhotep III kind of introduced that in. And then oh, here we go. Oh, somebody said they think it's Moses.
Oh, okay.
Or Joseph. They say, I done heard people say Joseph too.
Is that the 19 keys? He said, no. So what happens is under Heru, so words spoken by Heru, and then it'll be like Sa, S-A, which would be son of who would be Aset in the damaged part. So it'll be words spoken by Heru, son of Aset.
Yeah, Asiatic black man, you right about that, but that ain't got nothing to do with what we talking about.
At all.
You are correct, though. You are correct.
Sarah, son of the sun.
Son of Ra.
Yeah. Yeah, you on that West Coast stuff, bro. Yeah, I know my aunt stole my grandmother's feather, right? Who was Heru, the elder, and what was his role? That's wow. I'm gonna refer you to Kofi Pasa TV and look at his presentation on the many manifestations of Ra, and that should help you Grooveland. Let me try to find that and drop that link for you in the chat. And I want you to watch that presentation, and you can deal with the many manifestations of Ra. That's a good place.
Yeah, we definitely waiting on that book. I know it's gonna be good.
Kofi got some heat on his page, man. People just be slipping.
Yep. People got Kofi Pasa TV, y'all. Y'all should be. It's categorized. I mean, it's a lot of stuff, man, just on there. All kinds. It's he called it the African Netflix for a reason.
And it's free too.
Right. And it's free, no subscription. Well, you need to subscribe to the channel, but you don't pay no monthly fee. I went too far. Scroll back up. I done went down there. Oh yeah, September Rod. Yeah, y'all need to check that out. The Battle of Kadesh. You need to check that out, especially after we talked about Anoop, who was Anoop, with Saber Wujawu on there Sunday, whatever day that was. I did that.
Who is this, man? Talking about the Indians had the feather first.
Oh yeah, he playing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, contrarian. That's usually what he said about the feather mod.
About to say, what is going on tonight?
And y'all got anything for our closes out? Get this video for dude first.
Somebody should ask some more questions about the shish.
What my mama talking about? You want me make you some? Yeah, sure, mama. You can do that. I ain't gonna eat it till tomorrow.
You need to go ahead and knock that out tonight, Sean.
Man, I'm fasting, man. You know what I'm saying? But they talking about they finna go to a bite. Was supposed to go to a dinner tonight.
I'm about to whip me up, son.
They want hibachi, yo. And when they eat the hibachi, they go in. So this might bring me something back. I eat it tomorrow.
Veggie platter bag.
It's gonna be good tomorrow too, cause I ain't gonna do nothing but put a little grapeseed oil in the pan and throw it all in the pan and saute it up. Bring it back, and then hit it with the yum yum. 75 names of raw. Grooveland, here you go.
Asiatic black man, we not tripping. We said he has a daughter named that. What are you talking about?
Easy Bands, and I'm starting to think Easy Bands and Asiatic the same people. They brothers. They sitting side by side each other, talking to each other before they type.
Also turns out that King Tut's thing physical heredity deformity. Wow. Choose.
They making up history.
Oh,
Why can't we just rely on dictionaries for our translations? Do y'all? Sinjuti?
Because dictionaries don't always render the meaning. That's why.
Boom. That was quick. Can we answer though? See any similarities in what Easy Bands? According to Chisanga Siame, Tut Amen, Katakumi, modern Bantu title for one who is big or girth, big hip, squat, fat. And it also turns out that the King Tut, same physical hereditary deformity. Well, was King Tut girth, big hips, squat, or fat? Nope, he was not.
Was he named that after after like how he looked or whatever? Because that's not, we don't think, we're not named for that, for those purposes. So so we don't know about that really.
What language could compare
That's
to the Meta Nature during its time period? Wait for Asar's book. I think he has the answer for that in his book.
Yeah.
Only thing I can think of, well, no. Yeah, I was gonna say cuneiform, but that ain't the same though. That ain't logograms. They use them. I don't know.
Easy Bands look like will not answer this, not being scientific. You would have to go in there and scrub and do that work, bro, in order to come out with a conclusion. Yeah, it's a Bantu. Okay, so it's a Bantu title. And like I said, you just wait for
that's good to
Asar
know.
work. Asar gonna help you out, Easy Bands, and it's gonna help out Asiatic. The new book. Stay tuned. Matter of fact, go buy you a copy now. Go hit us our Facebook page.
I think it's out already. Yes, it's 2020. It's out.
Yeah, it's 2020. We supposed to have a book. So I'm just waiting on him to send me my copy because I already paid.
Asiatic black man said, Amaphis, son of Hapu, architect of scribe Amenhotep III. Why is fam throwing out names? I don't know. I don't know why he's doing it. I know. Ain't nobody even disagreeing with you.
Do the Tootsie have links to Kemet? Man, I don't know about that. Most people with their stories, they usually say if, you know, and through oral traditions, if they got ties.
Peace to the brother Sinead.
Yeah, peace to brother Sinead. So, man, I ain't gonna hold y'all up, man. We'll see if the session gonna go live in a few hours, so I'll holler at y'all. Again, I just want to say Shimon Hotel, man. Have some patience. You know, sign up for the class, man. If you're interested in knowing the language, or you know, go subscribe to Kofi Pi Side TV, and peep that information out over there. Like, share, subscribe to the Mossi Warrior Clan channel. Also, go like, share, subscribe to the Seshu Mani Medu Necha Facebook group and deal with that. So I need to see what my family's about to eat because I need to make arrangements for my food for tomorrow. And I'm gonna say, Shimon Hotel. Anybody y'all got any last words?
Nah, not really. Just I don't know, man. We may go live on Kofi Pieside TV and do a freestyle Friday. You never know.
On curveball, y'all.
Yeah, I got some time today. We got some time today, so we mess around and get something popping later.
All right. Well, y'all already here.
Yeah, so hopefully y'all have subscribed to all of those channels. So yeah, if it goes live, you know where it's at.
All right, peace.